What's up guys, in this video I'm gonna show you how you can make your house piano sound more human. Ready? Let's jump straight into the project. So for this tutorial we're gonna use the classic house piano sound from the Korg M1. Sounds like this. So these are the chords that I'm going to use in this tutorial. You can just pause the video and copy the chords into your own project. So let me just open up the Korg M1 plugin. So if you want to get this sound in Korg M1, you just go to Program and you go to Browser. You're going to go on the piano and you're going to select the Grand Piano down here. And then of course I made this MIDI pattern, because when you're doing house music like this house piano chord, the groove and the MIDI pattern is really like the key to get a really nice sound going on. So how do we make this house piano sound more human? So basically we're gonna layer our Korg M1 Grand Piano with some piano texture. So I have this cool plugin called the MK Sonny from Native Instruments, and it sounds like this. But what's cool about this plugin is that you can go into this tab down here, and then you can actually work around scoping the sound. So we can actually take out the main piano sound, because I don't want to have this main piano sound in the MK Sonny. I'm going to use the main piano sound in the Korg M1. So I'm going to turn off the main piano sound. But the magic here happens when we can use all of these different noises that we can put into the piano sound. So there is, of course, like the fabric that are used for the inside the piano. I don't know how a piano works, but it's basically to control the tone, I guess, of the piano. You have some mechanical noises from the piano. There can also be some noises from using the pedals underneath the piano. And you can also use to emulate some kind of noises that the pianist is gonna, like the human that's actually playing on the piano, the noises that he or she are making. You can try to emulate that by turning up these different sliders here. We can also use the harmonics of the piano. So I think this is a really cool way to try to emulate those like random noises, like just like these atmospheres that are happening around the piano, like outside of the digital world. And I want to put that inside the digital world, if that makes sense. So this is how it sounds without the main piano sound. Let me just turn it up. So you might hear that there are like some weird noises happening. They're just randomly put across like the different note when they're being hit. And I really like that kind of sound. And that's what I want to introduce into my Korg M1 piano house sound. Because when we're using like the Korg M1, I think it's being like sampled like the original hardware, and then sometimes the sound can become a little bit too dynamic, like too like static. And this is a great way to reintroduce some movement and some dynamic interest to the sound. Basically what I'm gonna do is, which I have already done because I've prepared this project, is that I have taken the MIDI notes from the Korg M1 Grand Piano and I've put them onto another pattern down here with the piano texture layer. And altogether the two sounds like this. So this piano texture layer is really subtle. So I've done some extra processing to really emphasize the stuff. So in FL Studio, I've routed my Korg M1 into one mixer channel. Then I've routed the texture piano layer into another channel. And then I've routed these two channels into a separate piano mix bus, because I'm gonna add some extra processing to get them to sound more together. So if we start with the Korg M1 Grand Piano, the only thing that I have added to this is just the Ozone 9 imager. And this is basically just to add a little bit of stereo width to the Korg M1, because it can sound a little bit mono as is. So it's basically just doing this. just adding like a little bit of extra width to the upper range of the sound. And then I'm just making like the lower parts just completely mono, just to make sure that it sounds good in mono. Then if we go to the piano layer, this is where I've added some extra stuff. So let me just mute the Korg M1 so we only hear the piano texture layer. So the first one is just an EQ, just to remove low end rumble, because there was a little bit of too much muddiness going on down here. So I don't want to mess it up with like potentially adding a bass line later on. Then I'm using this shaper box with the like panning to the left and right. Let me just see if I can turn up this volume a little bit. So everything is traveling from left to right. But I don't want the effect to be obvious, so I'm just turning down the mix, so it's just subtle changes in the stereo field. If you've seen any of my previous videos on YouTube, you know that I love to use this plugin for adding extra random movement in the stereo field. And that's utilized by using these different patterns, these rhythmic patterns that are in Shaperbox. And then I'm using the LFO mode. It's being set to unsynced. And then I'm going at this rate down here, just to, every hit is just random. And I really love randomness in my music, so it's more like unpredictable. So this is doing like some stereo stuff. And then I'm adding the neutron free from Isotope, and I'm adding like an exciter just to push the sound a little bit more. Just to color the sound, obviously it's also getting a little bit louder. And then I'm just cutting away the low ends, just so we didn't like introduce some extra low end by using the exciter plugin. This is a really great tip when you are doing processing. If you're adding stuff like compressors, exciters, distortion, basically almost all like processors, they can add and introduce some subtle like low end noises that you might not want in your sound. So that's why I'm using an EQ just after the exciter in neutron free, just to make sure that it's not generating any like unwanted low end. So that's like it for the piano layer. So all together they sound like this. Okay, so let me just turn off the piano layer. Go turn it on. This is just really subtle. So what we're gonna do now is that we have routed these two sounds into a piano mix bus. I like to use Soothe, just to remove any like resonance peaks in the piano. So this area right here. Then it's followed by a compressor, the CLA2A from Waves. This is making it really loud, but also like it just sounds really great, this compressor. It just glues everything really nicely together. I just like it. And then I'm adding like a delay just to add a little bit of like movement. You can hear those like when he's like the pianist is sliding some of the notes, you can hear like this like high-end texture being added to the piano hits. And this is what I mean about like adding randomness to these piano chords and this piano melody. It's just a great way to use like this Unicorda plugin on top of the Korg M1 house piano. So the last plugin that I've used is the Neutron Free, and this is just to remove a little bit of the low end with a low shelf and boosting the top range with a band axle high shelf, just to push those really nice upper frequencies. And then I'm using like a transient shaper, because this sound in house music is mainly also a rhythmic component. So these like kind of choppy, stabby piano chords, I want them to be like really like punchy. So that's why I added a transient shaper with a little bit of extra attack, so they get a little bit more like not clicky, but you just hear them a little bit more in the mix. That's obviously a little bit too much, but you get the idea. Like that's like the hits, the transients are just gonna be emphasized a little bit more. So that's basically the sound. Let's just pull off this piano texture layer. this just sounds really, really cool and human to me. Okay guys, I hope you enjoyed this house piano tutorial. If you liked the video, it means so much to me if you smash that like button or even subscribe to the channel. And don't forget to hit that notification bell so you never miss any future videos on the channel. I've also launched a Discord server for producers. It's a place where we can share our ideas, get feedback, provide feedback. It's generally just a cool place to hang out and talk about music and stuff. And I really want you to get involved if you want to. You can join the Discord in the link in the description down below. If you want to support this channel even further, you can go and browse some of my sample packs and preset packs on my web shop. The link is also in the description down below. So I hope to see you in the next video. Take care. Peace.